Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week we're having a bit of a tidy up in here. See you in a minute. Now, what with the bus bunk and the garage refurb and all sorts of other big things like that going on over the last year or so, this place has got into being a complete and utter tip, and it's reached a stage now where I can't really do anything in here. And that's why a lot of the stuff you'll see me doing over the next week or two has been done down at the Men in Sheds shed, because there's more room to spread and make that a mess as well. It's dusty and dirty because it hasn't been swept out for a while. There's a lot of stuff in here that needs culling, tools that need to go back into the garage, stuff that needs to come from the garage into here, stuff that needs to go into the house. And it just needs a general sort out. One or two things I want to try as well in the layout, so let's make a start and see what we can do with it. A couple of things I want to do. I'm trying to sort of get order into the shed a bit, and it's a constantly evolving thing. I'm still not quite happy with the layout, so keep trying new things. The beauty of having everything on casters is that I can soon move everything. I'm thinking of putting the lathe into this corner here, A, because I don't use it a lot, but B, because it's probably easier to get at it by just moving that one piece out. At the moment it's blocking the underbench storage on the main MFT a bit. So I'm hoping that I can get that into here and then put the sander over the other side, which should give me a little bit more room, and I think that will also ease up getting at or uncovering the workbench with the Triton saw and router in it. So that's the plan for today. We'll see if it works, but if nothing else, it'll at least have got some of the dust off everything, and maybe still get a few more tools cold and a bit more of the stuff that belongs in the garage and stuff from the garage into here. I've still got the sustainer boxes to deal with, but I am getting rid of quite a lot of them because they contain things that I don't really need in here, or things that I'm not using, in which case I shall get rid of them altogether. I want to try and get the track saw under that MFT bench as well, because it was getting to be a little bit of a problem to keep reaching into this corner to get at it whenever I wanted to use it. So that's the job for today. Now, this is one of the niftiest things I've ever bought. I think it was only a few pounds at Aldi or somewhere, but it prints labels on all sorts of different media. In this case it's a plastic trim, and you can just then pop those on, take the self-adhesive strip cover off and pop them on, and for once I'll be able to at least see what's in the cases without having to get them all out one at a time, because they're stacked in a heap, some of these. And it means I can just see what's in there. I'll put one there and one on the end. They're things I don't use very often, but it will just be useful to know which one of the cases has got the stuff in, because that's how I normally have to start at the top, just work my way down, and literally check every one. Next one is the Makita torch, so we just wipe that out. M-A-K, if I knew the alphabet it would help. T-A, I usually double space between because there isn't a lot of space there. T-O-R-C-H, Makita torch, press the button. And then on the floor I've got a bit on that. And then on the floor I've got a base that I made with casters on that the things will just sit on. And then I can stack up from there, and at least now, as I say, see exactly what's what. And what I've also got now is a top that I made for the stack of trolleys with the fixings on for the catches on the sustainers, and then catch on the bottom. That gives me the same plain height as everything else in the shed again. It's 900mm height, so it effectively extends the workbench line, and it means I've got a little workbench if I need just to do something small, put a bit of timber by hand on something, and it just stacks out the way. This is the sort of thing I'm up against. The router table is underneath that lot. It's been there for at least 6 months, and it's just an accumulation of stuff I've put there because it's a flat surface that enables you to put things down, and that's just no good at all, because it means now that thing is something that I don't want to use, because I know I've got a nightmare to tidy up after before I even start. I mean, so let's see what we can cull, see what we can put away properly elsewhere. There is not really a lot of point in keeping packs of A4 paper in here. That was for something else that's going on, but I don't need it in here now. That can go straight into the house. There's a drawer where that can go, and so on. We go through all of this. A lot of this stuff is just offcuts of MDF that you're going to keep for possibly one day in the future, and that day is never going to come. So I need to get rid of that, find a home for the bits that are decent. I've still got a bit of a problem with what to do with blocks of wood like that. I've got 2 or 3 different varieties of wood with blocks of wood, and I am reluctant to throw those away, but we'll see what we can find. And it's not just there, it's every other quadrant of the room is the same as this, so I'm just going to quietly start and work away at it, get a bit ruthless, and see what we can come up with as an end result. Right, and so after a couple of days work we've got somewhere, and I can't honestly believe quite how far I have got. Moving the sander across and putting the lathe in the corner was something that I didn't think would work. Time will tell, but in fact it seems to have opened up a huge amount of room in the shed. It's also helped that I've displaced, as ever, some of the problem elsewhere. I've put the large railway board that was there that I'd made, it's gone upstairs into the railway room, and that has in itself caused a certain amount of distress, but we'll worry about that another day. It's all about moving things from one room to another, I think, but it's containable and it's doable upstairs. I've still got all the workspace that I had before. I can actually get on with this workspace and use it now. But more importantly, I've still got a few things to tidy up in the corner, including the planer, which I must get onto now and get working on. But this whole area now, it's almost like having a ballroom. I used to have a space between the unit and the lathe that wouldn't even let me open the drawers fully. I can now get back to opening those fully to extend them so that I can get all the units in there. I've got the plunge saw now in with all its clamps and things in that one unit. I've taken one of the shelves out so that the TRS-50 now is accessible, and all of its clamps and fittings, bench dogs and everything are all together. I've culled 4 of these sustainers, the smaller ones. They've gone into the garage mainly because they've got bolts in, and that is something that will fit in the garage because I've got all those little boxes that I'd made a unit for the other week. So on the whole, I am delighted with that 2 days work and progress, because it's got me back to having a workable workspace that is pretty much clean now. There's a little bit of dusting still to do, but there's always going to be dust in somewhere like this. But on the whole, very happy with that. Okay, well, that's back to normal as ever it gets in here. It's given me the new problem that I can no longer reach the camera to focus it because I can get that much further away from it than I could before, that I've been managing with for the last probably year. It just shows that sometimes you have to go backwards before you can go forwards. This has taken 2 days out of the week, but it's been so worth it in terms of what I've got rid of. I've got a huge box of rubbish outside ready to go to the tip. I've put stuff into the right places elsewhere in the house without causing too much distress, and the garage. And this, I hope, will now be back to being a useful workspace that I can use the router, I can use the circular saw that I couldn't even get near before. So I hope it was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week. I'll try and build something then. See you then. Bye.